Hello and a very warm welcome to this special. It is time for Delhi Capitals versus Punjab Kings, and the news from the Brabant Stadium is that Delhi Capitals have won the toss and no surprises have opted to bowl first yet again. Captain making sure that that he gets a target to chase. So yes, Rishabh Pant saying we will bowl first. Delhi Capitals winning the toss at the Brabant Stadium, and they will bowl first. But the good news is that Delhi Capitals camp, despite being hit by COVID, has come out strong, where the match is being played at the Brabant Stadium. The venue must have changed, but the team very much there. And good thing to know is that today, after the tests were done twice, their reports came negative. So DC contingent strong. They underwent 2 rounds of RT-PCR tests, and all those tests have come back negative. The only player other than Mitchell Marsh, who had earlier been admitted to the hospital because of COVID for precautionary measure, the only other player other than him is Tim Seifert, who's been tested positive today. So he is obviously quarantining in the hotel, but DC versus PBKS very much on. The other news is that the match that DC were to play against Rajasthan Royals on 22nd of April, that has also been shifted to the Wankhede Stadium. It was to be played in Pune, but since DC has not travelled to Pune and their match is happening here at the Brabant Stadium, the other match has also been shifted here. So that's the breaking news on Delhi Capitals. But the other breaking news is that they have won the toss and they have opted to field first. Nikhil?
This has become, I think it's a superstition now. Almost every captain is, blindly, fielding first without, considering the dimensions of the ground, without looking at whether it's an advantage chasing or batting first. It's just no captain wants to take a risk and make that first call of batting first. At this ground, which we'll see later, the teams batting first have won as many matches as teams chasing. It's 4-all. The trend has reversed, in the recent matches. But yet, Rishabh Pant decided to chase, which is, yes, I understand you want to have a target in mind, and chasing overall remains an advantage. But it should also depend on your team composition. If you have a very strong batting lineup, then I can understand you want to chase. Delhi Capitals does not. They do not bat deep, and yet they are chasing. So anything above 185, 190, they are in trouble.
And why I think that this kind of strategy is not working out is also if the team batting first ends up making a big total, which goes above 200. Now, this is being played on the very same pitch where in the last match, 427 runs were scored between Kolkata Knight Riders and Rajasthan Royals. Rajasthan Royals set a target of 218, and Kolkata Knight Riders did come close, and at one point were comfortable in their run rate. But in the end, things turned around for them. And again, the pressure of the scoreboard playing a huge role in that. Despite that, Rishabh Pant said that he would like to bowl first. Okay, now let's also talk about what are the changes. Just one change for both the teams. So for Punjab Kings, Odean Smith, he sits out and he hasn't really been consistent, has been expensive with the ball, hasn't really been able to get big scores. So Odean Smith sits out, and pacer Nathan Ellis comes in place of Odean Smith. That's the only change for Punjab 11.
Yeah, Odean Smith hadn't done anything remarkable with the bat and ball. A lot was expected out of him, but he hasn't even excelled in one match, I would say, where he single-handedly taken the match away from the opposition. So not surprised. Although I would have personally picked Rajapaksa, but I understand why they have picked a bowler, because you're replacing a bowling all-rounder with a bowler. Nathan Ellis is a very good bowler from Australia. He specializes in the death overs, picks a number of wickets in the death. And they looking at their bowling lineup, apart from Rabada, they don't have anyone in the death overs. Rabada is also used in the power play. They have Arshdeep Singh, who's been very good and restrictive, but they need a wicket taker in the power play. I think Nathan Ellis would be good there. Yeah.
Okay, the other thing being that Johnny Bairstow is under pressure now because, again, Bhanuka Rajapaksa, the opportunity that he was given in Bairstow's absence, he grabbed it and he got off to good starts.
Yeah.
He's already, I think, got 90 odd runs in 3 matches. And if Johnny Bairstow does not end up doing well, I think his days in the playing 11 are numbered.
Bairstow is playing on reputation because
Correct.
he's a destructive opener. He led England's transformation, white ball transformation. And therefore, he had to replace Rajapaksa, even though Rajapaksa had given a great account of himself. You know, he's striking at 140 plus, had been an absolute revelation actually. No one expected the Sri Lankan to do so well from the number 3 position. But I think pressure is on Bairstow. If it doesn't perform, we might see the Sri Lankan back in the 11.
Back in the 11. Okay, also let's take a look at Delhi Capitals playing 11 now. For Delhi Capitals, again, one change for them, but that is that Sarfaraz Khan, he has come in place of Mitchell Marsh. Mitchell Marsh, as we all know, he's down with COVID, so Sarfaraz Khan comes back again. I think with Delhi Capitals as well, Nikhil, the problem is in the middle order. They've just not been consistent. Lalit Yadav, one game, and it was a match-winning knock, no doubt, but after that, hasn't really got runs. Robman Powell, I know you have strong views on him. And then, you know, even with Akshar Patel with the ball hasn't been impactful. Shardul Thakur with the bat and ball. It's, you know, this team needs to be more consistent.
Yeah, I mean, Lalit Yadav, one good knock, but otherwise only 75 runs, 4 matches. Powell, 31 runs, 5 matches. Why are they persisting with him? I think this is his last chance, Maya. Akshar Patel, you know, hasn't done well with the ball at all. Hasn't picked wickets, not controlled the middle overs. He was DC's unsung hero. You know, last couple of seasons, Shardul Thakur again being expensive. He was excellent for CSK last season. Kuldip Yadav has been a standout performer. Kuldip Yadav has been, Khalil Ahmed has been good. Mustafizur Rahman has been very restrictive in the power play. But this is a very top-heavy batting unit, and I'm worried about the middle order and lower order.
Also, the interesting thing here is that this is Kagiso Rabada's former team. So it'll be interesting how he bowls. In this tournament so far, we've seen players against their former teams. They're sort of charged up. We've seen what Yuzvendra Chahal was like against against Kolkata, against RCB.
And he was Nokia was preferred to Rabada, and that you remember these things because a fellow South African, Rabada was been a stalwart for Capitals, but he was not retained. Nokia was retained. So interesting.
Okay, also let's talk about Punjab Kings and their dependence on Liam Livingstone and Shikhar Dhawan. Yes, the two consistent players for them has been Liam Livingstone and Shikhar Dhawan. Liam Livingstone, the leading run scorer for them, and Shikhar Dhawan in number 2. But Mayank Agarwal hasn't been consistent. We've already spoken about Johnny Bairstow, Shah Rukh Khan. I mean, again, this I would have preferred Bhanuka Rajapaksa, but this is the team, and they need their captain to be more consistent.
Absolutely. I think only 2 standout batsmen for me so far for Punjab Kings. As you mentioned, Meha Dhawan, who scored 205 runs in 6 matches, and Livingstone, of course, absolutely brilliant, the highest run getter, 224 runs at a strike rate of 185. He has the best middle over strike rate in the tournament. You know, no other batsman, this is also a standout starter, no other batsman in their team has an aggregate of more than 100. No other batsman, which means there is no contribution yet from other batsmen. Best throw only 32 runs in 3 innings. He needs to contribute. He needs to contribute.
Okay, the interesting thing would be the wrist spinners from the two sides. Who will be that wrist spinner who will dominate today? Will it be Rahul Chahar or will it be Kuldip Yadav? Now, both of them have been bowling well. It'll be interesting to see who wins the battle today between the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, very difficult to pick who will do better here. Rahul Chahar has picked 9 wickets in 6 matches. Economy has been slightly better than Kuldip, who's gone for a little more, but he's picked more wickets. His strike rate is much better than Rahul Chahar. But both have done fantastically well. In the tournament, wrist spinners, if you saw in the first week, that wrist spinners are very restrictive, but they were not getting the wickets. The fast bowlers like Umesh, Prashit Krishna, Shami were getting the wickets. But there is suddenly change from week 2 onwards, and that trend remains till now, that wrist spinners, whether it's a right arm legs break or a googly specialist like Bishnoi or a left arm Chinaman like Kuldip Yadav, they are now dominating the bowling attack in terms of wicket taking. So they are topping the charts now, and these two have been standout for India.
Okay, also take a look at Kuldip Yadav's numbers. 5 innings, 11 wickets, and just the turnaround that we've seen from Kuldip Yadav. This just also augurs well for the Indian team.
Absolutely, and not only him, Yuzvendra Chahal is also back. He is the leading wicket taker of the tournament. So I think Kulcha is well and back for India. Those glory days to 2017 to 2019 when Kulcha dominated limited overs cricket and India were the #1 side in ODIs and in T20s for a certain period of time. I think those days are back, and I think Rohit Sharma will play both of them in the World T20. Both will go, and I think both might play also.
Kulcha, will they be on their flight to Australia? Okay, let's also talk about the X Factor players now from the two teams, and we're going to begin with Liam Livingstone from Punjab Kings. How good has he been? Came with the reputation. Okay, no, we've decided with Prithvi Shaw first. So Prithvi Shaw, a lot of expectations, especially given that he was retained, failed a yo-yo test, has been in the news for wrong reasons, injury, fitness issues, but he's saying that when it comes to Delhi Capitals, he's going to repay that faith by performing, and that's what he's done.
I mean, he's been destructive in the power play, and that is his USP, to give Delhi those, that start at the top of the order, that impetus at the start of the innings is so crucial. And especially in a tournament where teams haven't dominated the power play, but he has. He in the last couple of editions, in fact, no one has scored more runs in the power play than Shaw, and that is his USP. If he only plays the power play, he will score 30 to 40 at least in 20-25 balls, and then DC has the momentum. If he goes on to score more, it's a bonus. But Prithvi Shaw, since last season, where he scored 400 plus runs at a very high strike rate, has also started being very consistent, which is a good sign for Indian cricket.
Okay, so that's Prithvi Shaw, but what about for Punjab Kings? It is Liam Livingstone. Again, came with the reputation of hitting big. He can, he'd been doing that in all the leagues around the world, but he came and said, you know what, IPL's no different. I'm going to go about my way just like I've done with the leagues around the world, and take a look at those numbers. I mean, to see the strike rate 172, the most consistent player for Punjab.
Absolutely, highest scorer, and batting in the lower order. Strike rate overall of 185, the middle over strike rate 172, which is really, that's a standout stat. He comes in and starts to dominate straight away, which is so difficult to do. It's almost like what Dinesh Karthik is doing for RCB. Accelerating as soon as you come out to bat. It's a rare quality. Not everyone does that. Even the best of batsmen need delivery to settle in, but not players like Liam Livingstone. Absolutely brilliant. Recently at Trent Bridge, he scored the fastest 100 for England in the T20I cricket history against Pakistan. So he is in the form of his life, and this is a great platform he's chosen to show his skills.
Okay, now please do follow us on News 9 Sports. That is our social media channel, our YouTube channel, in fact, News 9 Sports. So please subscribe to that for all the latest video from the world of sports. And this will have interesting interviews with players. We've just done an interview yesterday with Aidan Markram of the Sunrisers Hyderabad. You can watch that there. We've also done earlier a Lockie Ferguson interview. A lot of news, interviews, analysis right here on News 9 Sports. Now, for all of you who are joining us now, the news from the Brabant Stadium is that DC, Delhi Capitals, have won the toss and they've opted to bowl first. One change for Delhi Capitals and one for Punjab Kings. So Delhi Capitals, like we said, surprisingly, given that even the last match here at the Brabant Stadium was won by the team batting first, captains still going with that trend of bowling first. So Punjab Kings have replaced Odean Smith with Nathan Ellis, the fast bowler from Australia. And one change for DC as well. Sarfaraz has come in place of Mitchell Marsh. But the good news then is that the match is on, very much on, as we've been saying, but also that Delhi have got a team together, because Delhi had been hit by COVID. We know of this, of around 6 players and support staff included were found positive. And at one point there was news of maybe the match is going to be cancelled, but no, DC contingent underwent 2 rounds of RT-PCR tests and they've come negative, so the match is very much on. Though their next match against Rajasthan Royals has been shifted from the MCA Stadium in Pune to the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. That is to be played on 22nd of April. So that's good news for them. And I'm sure they'd want to end all of this with a win today. Delhi have struggled in the tournament despite the kind of team they had. First, they didn't have David Warner. They didn't have Mitchell Marsh. Now, unfortunately, Mitchell Marsh came back and is down with COVID, but Delhi would really want this win.
Absolutely. They need this win, otherwise they will, fall back in the race. They've only won 2 matches. A little surprising. I would have expected them to be in the top 4 as we approach the halfway stage in the tournament. But Delhi need to win this match, because otherwise it will be very difficult Meha to make a comeback at the business end of the tournament.
Yes. Okay. Also, let's talk about some of the battles, key battles that we're looking forward to today. One being between David Warner and Kagiso Rabada. And it's an interesting one. If you look at the stats, it is Kagiso Rabada who's had the better of David Warner, dismissing him five times,
71 balls. So dismissing him once every 14 deliveries. That's an excellent strike rate. Given him 96 runs, but that's irrelevant if you're getting him out so often. This is going to be interesting. This battle, Meha, will define the power play, and that could define the rest of the match, because if Warner gets out early and they're chasing anything above 180, then they are in trouble, DC, because they don't have a batting lineup which bats deep. So Warner's wicket is huge, and I'm sure this matchup is known to the team, and Rabada will be employing in the power play against Warner.
Okay, let's also look at the key battle in the middle overs, and it'll have to be Liam Livingstone versus Kuldip Yadav, or Pant versus leg spinners as well.
Absolutely. I'm looking for Livingstone and Kuldip Yadav haven't faced each other, but this could be an interesting battle potentially, because Kuldip Yadav, the left-arm Chinaman, he'll bring the ball into Livingstone. And Livingstone has been in the form of his life. So very short boundaries at Brabant. So will Livingstone take a risk against Kuldip Yadav in the short boundaries? I mean, he can smash him over mid-wicket, cow corner. So this will be interesting, because Kuldip has been one of the bowlers of the tournament. Pant versus leg spinners is going to be an interesting battle, because Pant, has dominated leg spinners over the last couple of seasons, especially overall. His average is 67, strike rate of 140 against leg spinners. Is also because leg spinners bring the ball into Pant, and he, again, in a short boundary, he can easily clear the Brabant Stadium dimensions. So again, Pant versus leg spinners in the middle overs, Livingstone versus Kuldip Yadav, interesting battles.
Okay. So just quickly, before we go any further, let's also take a look at the playing 11 for all of you who have just joined in. There are there's one change for Punjab and one for DC. The playing 11 otherwise is the same. The changes there is first for Punjab, where Nathan Ellis has come in place of Odean Smith, the pacer from Australia. He's come in. Odean Smith has been hasn't been in great form. Has also was expensive. The other good news for Punjab Kings is that Mayank Agarwal, the captain who sat out in the last game, he is back. His toe is healed. So that's good news as well. So that's the change for Punjab Kings. For the Delhi Capitals, one change again for them. And that change is not Rovman Powell, as some of us would have liked, but in fact, there is one change in Mitchell Marsh going out because he has COVID, and Sarfaraz Khan is in. I do feel that when it comes to the two teams, Punjab definitely a far stronger batting.
Far stronger batting. Also, I think a better bowling unit overall. They have more firepower in the lower order, which in this match, Meha, could be the difference. The firepower in the Punjab Kings middle and lower order could be the difference on a flat stadium on a beautiful batting pitch at Brabant.
Okay, also death overs. Though, I mean, we didn't see too many wickets fall in the last match between Rajasthan Royals and Kolkata Knight Riders, but this will be interesting as well. Khalil Ahmed has gone about doing his job well and has done it quietly under the radar, but he hasn't been wicketless in this tournament.
Absolutely. I mean, Khalil Ahmed has bowled well, left armour, and the angle with which he'll bowl, it won't be easy for Livingstone to sort of, tonk him in the death over. But Livingstone is the form of his life. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, I'm looking forward to Akshar Patel, the batsman. Akshar Patel, the bowler, hasn't done much, but Akshar Patel, the batsman, we saw in the first match what he's capable of when he won them the match, versus Arshdeep Singh, who has the best economy rate in the death overs of 5.25. That is an astonishing economy rate for the death overs. So Akshar Patel versus Arshdeep Singh could be a very interesting battle in the death overs.
All in all, I think at the end of the day, I am wondering at what stage in this tournament will we have captains choosing to bat first. It hasn't happened so far, and I'm sure it's some kind of a record.
It is a record,
to see
yeah.
that nobody has gone in wanting to bat first, given now that Dew is not playing such a huge role, which Shreyas Iyer had spoken about in the last game against Rajasthan Royals. And Rajasthan Royals just won a game against Kolkata Knight Riders at the Brabant Stadium. So it's interesting. At some point it'll change, but not today. It's not to be today. Though, what are you expecting? So Punjab Kings with a far stronger, I would say, batting lineup. Now batting first.
Batting first on a beautiful Brabant Stadium, beautiful pitch which had 427 runs scored in the last match. Small boundaries, 195 is the average score. I'm expecting 210, 215 today. I'm expecting Delhi to fall well short. They'll be just too much. They'll crumble under the pressure of the target, and with the batting lineup they have, they don't have 5, 6, 7, 8. I think they're going to lose by a big margin.
Okay, I think that Punjab will score over 200 runs.
Okay.
Mayank Agarwal will get 50.
Okay.
Plus 50, 50 plus. Let's get specific.
Punters, please come out.
Liam Livingstone is going to get a 50 as well.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
Who's going to win?
Like, who's going to win? Punjab.
Okay.
Definitely
same
Punjab.
Okay.
I really think with the way, because, I mean, yeah, I would think that they have a better batting. And on top of that, if they're batting first and if they can get off to a big start. And I feel like Brabant being such a flat and a beautiful track, the moment they get off to a big start, they'll be unstoppable.
Absolutely. Interestingly, Punjab has the highest scoring rate in the power play.
Yes.
Also, and they also have, the lowest scoring rate in the death over. So I think they'll try to maximize the power play, because death overs they haven't maximized yet. So
Correct.
Let's see what happens.
That's right. And in fact, that is one thing that you've seen which is different with other teams, because the other teams that tend to do better in the death overs
yes.
than in the power plays. But Punjab have gone hammer and tongs right from the word go. And of course, that's the kind of brand of cricket that they want to play. But let's also take a look at the points table. Who's right at the top? Well, it is GT, Gujarat Titans. Hardik Pandya and his team are right at the top. 10 points. RCB, after winning the match yesterday, is sitting pretty in the second place. And Rajasthan in the third place. LSG fourth. Sunrisers Hyderabad surprised all of us. They are in the top 5. And some surprises there. Not just SRH, but even RCB to be sitting there. They'd be very happy, given that Virat Kohli didn't even have to perform to get there for Royal Challengers Bangalore. But then take a look at this. CSK and Mumbai right at the bottom. Mumbai haven't even got a point.
6. Wow, yeah. Absolutely. I think, for me, I'm happy that, CSK and KKR are in the bottom half, because that was a preview. I don't want them to qualify. Nothing personal. It's just, based on analysis. But I'm expecting Punjab Kings to move up. I'm expecting them to move up for sure. Mumbai Indians, I think, they may cause a few upsets, but I think this tournament is over. They're now fighting for prestige and nothing else. But
I still feel Mumbai can. I think it's the problem more is with CSK. I don't see them playing consistently.
You think Mumbai can make the playoffs? No.
You are going to have Rohit Sharma fire in 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, but they'll win maybe 4 or 5, but they can't qualify.
No, I agree. They're not going to qualify. They were never going to qualify for me even before this started. But then, these teams have a habit of proving all of us wrong. So who knows? And, at the end of the day, whoever performs the best, may they get to the top. But also quickly, toss, like I said, that DC, Delhi Capitals, they won the toss. Rishabh Pant opted to field first. One change for Delhi Capitals in that Mitchell Marsh is out because he is COVID. He's got COVID. And Sarfaraz is in. Mayank and Dhawan have opened the innings for PBKS, and so much is dependent on them. Dhawan's already been consistent, but can Mayank Agarwal play a big knock tonight? That's the big question. Shardul Thakur takes the new ball to open DC attack. What do you think of that?
Interesting. Clearly, I think they want to get wickets with the new ball. Thakur has done well. He's a partnership breaker.
Mayank's already hit a 4.
Okay, that hasn't started well. Thakur has also leaked runs in the death over, so maybe they want to sort of use more of him in the power play. Let's see. Could be an interesting move.
The other thing is Shikhar Dhawan is playing his 199th IPL match, and he only needs 11 more runs to complete 6,000 runs.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll join Indian Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Suresh Raina and the likes. Yeah, I mean, Dhawan has been an IPL great. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. So that's the news from Brabant Stadium. Mayank Agarwal and Shikhar Dhawan have opened the innings for them. Shardul Thakur playing the first over, bowling the first over. Mayank's already hit him for a 4. That's it from us, from Nikhil and I. News 9 Sports is what you need to subscribe to get all the latest from the world of sports. For now, goodbye. Thanks for watching.